Let's just talk. Let's do it. No leaves in your hair.
No,
great.
It's great.
Okay, can you tell us a story about a time, something adventurous, a funny story that happened with Young Life?
Yeah, so because of Young Life and I got to go to El Salvador for a missions trip, I had actually decided to graduate early from high school and go on a missions trip to India and Nepal for a couple months. And while I was in Nepal, I was sitting at a coffee shop and I noticed this lady across the room sitting, and she had a Young Life shirt on. So I went up to her and I was like, hey, do you know what Young Life is? And she was like, yeah. And not even a week later, I was in a car on the way to a Young Life club halfway across the world, where when I was there, I didn't even know what they were saying. I didn't speak the language, but I knew exactly what was going on. I knew the skits that were happening, I knew the games that were happening, and I knew exactly what was going on when one of the leaders came up and all the kids were sitting down and they just got to share the gospel with all the kids that were there. So it was really crazy that although I wasn't in Nepal for Young Life, I still got to experience a Young Life club halfway across the world.
One adventure is Campaigners Weekend. I just love going there every year and walking around Niagara Falls and looking at all the different places, and then at the end of the night picking a place to eat and just coming back to the hotel and having a pool party and ending the night with worship.
Yeah, I went to Young Life Camp in 1995. I was invited by my girlfriend at the time. We went to Lake Champion, and the memory I have most vividly is the Blob, which has since been banned, but it's a large inflatable on the water that someone jumps at one end and you're at the other end and it launches you in the air. And there was this big kid that jumped off and launched me, and I was 40 feet above the water upside down, and I have the picture to prove it. And it was just something that, I was blown away by. I never saw anything like that in my life. So definitely a cool memory.
So my oldest son, he started going to Wildlife when he was in middle school. And I can still remember the first year he was going to camp, and he went to Lake Champion, which ironically is a camp that I went to. All the way from Florida, we actually went to Lake Champion. So it was the first time that he had ever been away from home. And as a mom, there's a little bit of nerve-wracking about sending he was, I think, 12 years old at the time, sending him away for a whole week. And I remember that there's these videos that they post on the Young Life website just to see how the kids are doing. And I was waiting and waiting for this video, and I found the first video, and lo and behold, the very first clip of the first video is all the buses arriving and the bus doors open, and there is my son running off the bus, arms wide open, hands outstretched, giving high fives to all the leaders as they're running through this whole big sort of tunnel of leaders. And the smile on his face was huge. And at that moment, I knew I have nothing to worry about.
How did the relationship you developed with your Young Life leader there at the end of your high school career, how did that impact you or guide you through college or through the end of your high school career?
So I was starting college in the fall and had just became a Christian at Young Life Camp August 1st, 1995. And the leaders that came around me during that time, I didn't know how to receive that. And I don't think it can be overstated, the value of having a leader or having somebody in your life that is cheering for you and that wants to get to know you and wants to teach you. I needed to learn how to read the Bible. I've never done that before that time. So having that foundation, before I started college, was just really amazing experience. And I still can recall some of the things they taught me.
Yeah, my Young Life leader was so selfless, and it was something that I've never seen before. Somebody who was just so interested in giving all of their time or even giving money to just help us to have a fun time, but also really poured into us in our lives and the things that mattered to us, and just making us feel like our lives and our situations mattered and they were really important. And sometimes I think there's just not enough people pouring into middle schoolers or high schoolers. And so having the opportunity to have just somebody who's older and been through life a little bit and who's a Christian, who has that experience to be able to pour back into them now, I think it's really important in how it shapes them.
I wasn't able to do something on my own. So a couple weeks ago, I asked Grace, I was like, can we do a Bible study where we are focusing on just growing in our faith, getting just having a good conversation and going through scripture? And she was like, yes, of course we can do that, because I was like, I'm leaving for college in August and I want to be as set as I can be so that when I go there, I'm not just stoop and just don't do anything with my faith. So I asked her and she said yes. And most of the time I've never been able to ask somebody, hey, can you do this for me? And they follow up with it, and Grace does. Every week we do Bible study, no matter if it's 6 in the morning, no matter if it's for 2 hours or an hour, Grace always follows up.
It is so important for high school and middle school students to have a relationship with Young Life or Wildlife leaders. From my own experience in high school and middle school, it was really sweet to have somebody just tell me that I'm not alone, and that I wasn't going through life and I wasn't crazy for the things that I was experiencing. And even as a Young Life leader, I've gotten to help other girls know that they aren't alone, that they're seen, they're known, they're loved, they're cared for, they're wanted. And it's just a huge impact on how they view themselves, how they view their relationship with God, and how they experience life.
I absolutely think it is so important for kids to have Young Life leaders in their life, because as a parent, obviously my job and my role is to take care of my kids, to love them. But when they have somebody who it is not their job to love them, make them feel seen and heard, it opens up something different in them, that they feel heard and they feel special. They feel like I'm somebody's favorite person and it's not my mom who has to. So, I mean, whether it's leaders who show up at my kids' soccer games or come bring them to breakfast or just call and say, hey, what can I be praying for you? I mean, they love on our kids, and I think it's so cool because they don't have to do that. So as a kid, when you have someone whose job is not to love you and care about you, invest in you, it just creates such a positive mindset for them.
All right, last question. How does what you've experienced and learned about God impact your day-to-day relationship with Jesus and with other people?
So Young Life has impacted my day-to-day relationships with the Lord and other people, because it makes me want to strive to be as much like Christ as I can be, to set an example for the Young Life kids, but also I just want to live out Jesus' mission for us, sharing the gospel and sharing love with others. It's so important. And it's impacted my relationships with my friends and my wife. We have such great community now. And my wife Sarah and I strive to share the gospel as a married couple, buying a house in Hamburg so that we can lead Young Life close to our kids, using our house for campaigners or club, or the girls come over and have a special dinner in the backyard. There's just so many ways that Jesus has formed our lives to serve others better, and that's all given to us through the ministry of Young Life.
I've experienced God through Young Life. I'm just so happy that I can read scripture now, because before I didn't really know how to do it. And I was so happy that the time I started doing campaigners in March, we were doing Nate Starr's book. And I was just so happy to find the different ways to read scripture, because I literally didn't know how to do it. So I was just so happy that we went through that at that time, because it just gave me such a good foundation for the rest of my life. And I'm just so happy that it taught me how to do that, because I've just found how much scripture helps and how important scripture is in your journey of faith.
I feel as if Young Life has changed me in my day-to-day life, that every single day I'm praying to God throughout every single moment of my life, instead of just in the morning or at night or before bed or before a meal. I feel like now I can have an honest conversation with God and just talk to him as if he's a friend. And I just loved how Young Life was able to help me just surround myself with like-minded people and who think about God the same way as me.
Yeah, I think something I was taught early on was just how to be a disciple. I didn't even know what that word meant, so how to listen to God, how to spend quiet time with God. That's the number one thing for me, is that I learned from early in my Christian walk during that summer. I had a leader that taught me how to have a quiet time. You know, I'd never heard that language before, and I still do that now. Quiet times are important to me now, just as they were back then. And I think just knowing that I can spend quality time with God, one-on-one, is what made a big difference for me.
Young Life absolutely has helped me experience God in a way that I feel like I owe my life to Young Life. I grew up in a house that believed in Jesus but didn't necessarily follow Jesus. And when I went to Young Life for the first time, I was hearing things that I honestly had never heard before. And it was in the summer of 1993 at Lake Champion, New York, where I sat in a big open field under the stars and I personally asked Jesus into my heart. And just knowing that that moment had such a huge impact on the rest of my life, and knowing that it was because of going to Young Life that truly changed me forever. And then sort of full circle, having my own kids getting to experience the same thing. When my son went to his first Young Life camp, it was Lake Champion. And that is where I became a Christian. So it was just like this most amazing moment knowing that he was going off to this place where I asked Jesus into my heart.